Did you say go?
I did say go. Well, I didn't say go. I gave the signal.
Did you say steak?
Welcome to Mornings with Matt. Personal and
inside
professional development training that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mornings with Matt and Brian and Joey.
It was too long a title, so, we just simplified it down. But
If you guys had a first name that started with an M, then it would go really well, but it's like...
even then, like Mornings with Matt, like Mark and... what's another M one?
Mike?
Mike. That's like a long...
Matt, Mark, and Mike. Nah.
Matt, Mark, and Mike in the morning. It sounds great.
Okay, if you add in the morning at the end, I guess.
Yeah.
I was just saying. The alliteration works.
Maybe we just change our name, Joe.
I'm not changing my name.
Come on, dog. Come on. Do it for the team. Let's go.
Sacrifice. Little sacrifice.
Speaking of sacrifice, we are very excited to be talking about the upcoming Lighthouse Theater Fundraiser coming up. Thanks, Joey, for reminding me of my missing sound effects.
Yeah, I got you.
So, so we are going to be we're relaunching. We're not relaunching. It never really stopped Lighthouse. It just was quiet for a bit because there was a global pandemic, I believe.
That did.
Or I think there still is, right? Is there?
It's still going on.
Like there's a pandemic? Is it like a thing?
Yeah, it's just we're still gonna have shows. And
we're ready to come back. That's the thing. So we're about to have our first rehearsal back, which is exciting. It's like, can I beat Joey? That's the question. I'm not sure if I can.
It's tough. The air horn is constantly in his brain.
Yeah,
continuously.
My brain is an air horn.
And last year we had an amazing show. It was last year. The Lonesome West, we put that up, and that was a very, very exciting, successful show.
That was literally a year ago.
Was it literally?
This month.
Wow.
Second week of August.
And this is when we were going to have our other show, our second.
Yeah.
So we're going to get back on that. We will be having more shows being put up. We are definitely having Chaos Comedy come back, and we are asking for help, right? I mean, that's the big deal.
Absolutely.
We're going to say, hey, we're not immune. We're like every other theater here. We had to shut down completely, and we're looking to raise some money.
Absolutely.
You want to talk into that, Brett guy?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we do. The Chaos Comedy is a huge part of what we do. We've also started doing that Divine Roots podcast and like the spiritual podcast, and we just really want to be a light out there. And so this fundraiser is going to give us the funds to be able to build up this theater and make sure we're continuing to run and continuing to do that light-based mission that we've felt really driven and called to do. And so this is the avenue to do that. We have so many big plans for that. Hey. It's Deering.
My camera disappeared.
That's hilarious.
I feel like Sling is glitching, but it's not. It's just somebody called.
It's my wife tuning in.
Camera.
So dang it. What was I saying?
You were talking about Leanne calling in the middle of the show.
I was saying that.
Your camera.
I was saying that with the.
It's the light-driven content, Brian. And you know what? Why don't we take this moment to sit and speak about some facts, which is how Lighthouse even came to be.
Yeah, let's do that.
I think that'd be fun for everybody to know what the story is. So
how Lighthouse came to listen, choose, be.
There you go, Joey. Come on now.
Thanks.
Crowd loves that one.
Thank you.
It's a literal act of God, right? I mean,
literally. So we lost a friend of ours, very good friend named Brad Piccirillo, and he died at the young age of 30, and it shook us all pretty hardcore. And I was walking up the street outside this studio, and as God does sometimes, he tapped on my shoulder, and he said, you got to put a lighthouse on the corner of the building. And that's a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a weird thing. So I don't know. And I don't know how to describe the voice of God. And for me, it's not Matt. Yes, God.
Thinking how are you?
It's this only way I can say it is there are these thoughts that are out of this world. They are too random, too like it doesn't fit into my normal day. And I go, there's no way this isn't God. Mm-hmm. The other way this has happened before has been, for instance, I've gotten tapped on the shoulder when I was, say, taking a shower and given the idea, hey, I'd like, we need to give X amount of money, like an exact amount of money to somebody who I haven't thought about or, you know, I hardly know or something. And it's like, what? Like, where did that come from, you know?
Yeah.
And so anyway, God says, put a lighthouse on the corner of the building. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean by that? And so we're still trying to figure out how to get a lighthouse on the corner of this building, because that was the direction, is what it was. Lighthouse on the corner of the building. And so if you remember, Bri Guy, I told you about this, and you're always there for me. Always. You always have been. And so I told you this little vision, and you're like, okay, cool. And we spent about 6 months trying to rebrand Deering Acting Studio to be Lighthouse Acting Studio. I'm like, because I was like,
some logos.
Yeah,
like,
a lot. We put a lot of work and effort into it. As a matter of fact, we have an entire Lighthouse Acting Studio curriculum built. And it's in our G Suite that like has been untouched because it just, the doors closed. It wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have come and worked as your editor if it was Lighthouse Acting Studio. I mean,
Yeah, well, you know what? I think you would. I think you would have, Joey. You know,
I was kidding.
it's not the name, but at the end of the day, like it wasn't supposed to be for whatever reason. It wasn't supposed to be. And then when we did our rebuild, we reached out, and some people donated some money toward this idea of Lighthouse.
Well, and just to preface this, I was gone, so that was right at the
Poof, like a magic act.
gone point. So that was after the coma, and then I went off to do some ministry for a bit. So when that happened, I believe when the fundraising happened, you were rebuilding here for Deering specifically.
That's right.
Right, and I wasn't here.
But Lighthouse was still a concept that we
Yes.
were interested in, and it was like the theater at the time. But it was very unofficial. Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny is I reached out to one of our very successful friends and was like, hey, would love for you to donate to this thing. And by the way, we did one of those GoFundMes. So we raised a lot of money, but we didn't hit the mark, so we got none of it.
Yeah,
Oh.
I remember that.
It was such a bummer. But anyway, so I reach out to one of these friends of ours, and
What kind of funding website? I'm sorry.
I know.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Really?
You gotta hit
They
the
didn't
mark.
take the money either. It just got refunded to everybody. But
Yeah.
you have to hit your mark, or you don't get it.
Well,
So,
can
like,
you
a lot
set
of
like
people-
an extremely low mark?
You can, you
Yeah.
can, but I didn't. I mean, I never set a mark low. You know, it's not my style. So anyway, long story short, this guy does not donate, but instead he donates with a gift of knowledge and a gift of an idea. And he says, "I'll tell you what. Why don't you launch a nonprofit? Put in the time and the effort to launch a nonprofit. Then people can donate tax-free." So if you're out there listening, good friend of mine, we did that. And now you can
do
donate
that. You can donate.
tax-free.
All right, what is this?
LighthouseTheater.org. Guys,
Leanne,
Is that
could
your-
you guys
is that
put
your
your
phone now?
phones on silent? For goodness sakes.
Maybe she's watching the
Leanne is
show and she's
calling
trying to
me.
tell us something.
I mean, I guess I should just.
Maybe there's
answer.
something wrong with the show, and Leanne's trying to tell us that she
It's
can't
quite
hear
possible.
I tried to answer.
She
and
can't see
did
us.
Not,
I mean-
she did not oblige. She did not.
Well,
I'm gonna check now. Because
there's got to be a reason that Leanne Deering is calling.
it sounds great.
No. Okay, I'm just gonna
Answer the phone. Leanne is now live. Let's get her attached to the Bluetooth.
Hello,
here, Joey.
Leanne.
I can't hear her.
I
She's
can't
far away.
hear her either. Hang on.
Hold on,
I'm
Leanne.
just
Give
gonna
us
have
1
to
second
put you
here.
on,
We're just
Hey, Leanne, what's up? Yeah. Sorry, I had to switch. Oh yeah, she's at the door. Duh.
Oh, so she's not calling to talk about the show that we are live on right now? Like actually live in the show right now. Okay.
not calling for the live show.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So thank you, baby, for calling in. Let me see here. You know what right now is, Brian? It's a great time to segue to something random, don't you think?
I love random thoughts.
Because we got a little bit derailed here. So
Look, guys, we're all gonna do it anyway. We might as well
time now
just.
for Brian Sweeney's shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs.
I just wanted to aggressively do it this time.
You've gotta
like a
plug
lot of
it.
book movement. I just want a lot of book movement.
It's not a
this time.
shameless plug if you don't plug
I'm gonna
it.
plug. I just want a lot of book movement.
Guys, I was gone for
Acting is
30
my day
seconds.
job.
Where is my iPad?
7 strategies to market and make money for as an actor. Joey lost his iPad. He doesn't get to see it. There are just so many cookies of knowledge inside of this thing. You've got to check it out. I literally had a student email yesterday because we started like giving this out in class and talking about it in our commercial classes, and they were just talking about how much they gained from just reading this book. And so highly recommend it. And again, you can get it on Amazon, get it anywhere. Another little side shameless plug is that we just did our second episode and restarted our Divine Roots podcast.
Yeah.
Woo! Which is super cool.
So
and
cool.
so you guys can check that out at deeringstudio.com and then go to our podcast page. It's super amazing, and just one of our guides and somebody who's helped us out a lot, Paul, is on that show, and it's just so awesome. So that's our little second shameless plug. Matt, hey, bud.
Bode the barber.
I was really thinking that I should come over and sit at the soundboard.
You should have done it. That'd be great.
Since you were gone for 30 seconds, I figured I should just
Joey at the
take over
soundboard
your
sounds
job.
like
Just
all
every
the
10
time.
seconds,
Yeah,
Bro,
very good.
20 times, and they're always like late too.
I'm like, we would just love for you to give to Lighthouse. And he's like, waiting for you.
So let me just back this thing up for a second,
Back
okay?
it up.
So
Back it up.
we ought to lay down some knowledge. I want to brag on myself for a second.
Okay.
Brag it.
This is one of those things, and this is funny because this is a brag that's also a potentially a humble brag, I guess, because I'm going to rip on myself simultaneously.
All right.
So my wife, Leanne Deering, most beautiful, wonderful girl on earth, she just interrupted our show, right, a couple times, and it's because, truthfully, she was unprepared and didn't have a card to get gas. So she had to like break into the studio, didn't have her keys to the studio, all these like things, and then she has to come in and interrupt, and she needs to borrow my card, okay? And my first reaction was very selfish, was like very just like ugly, honestly. And I left this chair and I like sort of stormed out over there. And I was like, babe, I'm on the air. Like, I'm live on YouTube. You know, like this is a big deal, babe.
YouTube.
You know, and then I find the wallet and she's like, I'm so sorry. I would have never done it if it wasn't an emergency. And I was like, here's my wallet. You know, and I'm like storming back in the room. She's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, kind of making a point. And then I stopped myself. And I was like, moron, like you are such an idiot. And I stopped myself mid-tracks and I turned around and I grabbed her face and I gave her a kiss. And I said, I know, baby, I love you. And I sent her off. And what's funny is like this idea of you always have time. I don't care that we're live. I have that extra 5 seconds, 10 seconds it took to stop and acknowledge the fact that I'm being a moron. And essentially with my actions, what I did was I said, sorry. I said, I understand. I said, I know you wouldn't have done that. You know, all the things that where I should have come from, you know. And what happens is you get it. I feel like we get ourselves into this place, this panicky something or whatever. It's like an anxious feeling. And we become blind quickly. And we stop listening to the room. And that's what I stopped doing for a second. I stopped listening to the room. And I didn't see the love in her eyes. I didn't see the panic in her eyes, and the fact that she doesn't need me to freaking panic and to be all mean about it, you know?
Yeah.
She's embarrassed, and now she's really embarrassed because I brought it up on the air. But you know what I mean? Like the truth there. And I think there's something for us all to learn in that moment is to go like, and for me to remind myself, hey, bro, like, wait a second. Find the facts in the situation. Like, understand what's really going on before you get all reactive.
Well, and let's take history into effect here, like the history of a relationship and the things that come from that. How often does somebody call and do that? How often does Leanne do that? Like,
I mean, never. So
Never,
I thought
right?
her foot was cut off or something.
right.
and essentially it was.
Yeah.
Because she was trying to travel someplace and couldn't get there, right? So one of her wheels was missing.
Yeah, and then the idea of oh my God.
Brian's like, you're hilarious. You are so funny. And the studio audience is like, we agree.
We agree.
Oh, they're still laughing. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Well, just the idea there is, if it is, then it had to have been important to her. It had to have been, and so even in the moment, let's say it wasn't important. Like, let's say it wasn't.
Okay.
And she's coming in her mind, and something going on with her. There's something where she really felt in that moment she needed you, right, or needed something. And so to us, it may seem really small, but to her, it's this huge thing. And it comes down to, I think, our own, and this is just when I do it, my own selfishness,
right?
You know, like really not thinking, it really doesn't matter what the situation is, you need me, you know, for whatever reason, you need me.
And this is why, you know, my particular perspective on this whole thing is I actually appreciate giving myself harsh critique quickly, and then I don't dwell on it, though. Because I've done it, acknowledged it, and moved forward. So like, I came back in here and I'm like moron, like you were such an idiot, you know. But I don't feel like I'm a moron. But like that moment you were, and it's to me it's this reminder, like, hey, slap myself in the face, remember this, so that you're less of a moron next time. Hopefully, that's the goal, you know. Speaking of like just like idiotic ideas, like who would not donate to Lighthouse Theater?
I know, it's so easy. You just go to lighthousetheater.org, it just says give right
There's
there.
Like it's like a give number.
Totally. It's an amazing organization. I mean, yeah, okay, fine. So the website header is no good. I agree.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%.
It looks like it's snowing, and we're like, why does it look like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to fix it today because it's got to get fixed. It's
really
just the worst website. If you, okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see the worst website header of all time, go to lighthousetheater.org. And look at it and be like, wow, that's so bad that obviously they need help. We need to donate to this cause,
right. And they could also go 6 months back and see the one before that, because that was even worse.
No way, really?
Yeah, that was
it gets worse?
That was the band guy.
Oh, the band guy.
I was trying to create like a stage environment, and it was like, Matt's like, what's that guy like? What's up with his hair or whatever? I can't remember.
Gotta be careful with those stock photos, because it can really paint the wrong picture.
It really can, yeah.
Oh, man.
So Joe.
That was his nickname growing up. Joe.
I was thinking about this Leanne pop in me understand experience, and you had a similar deal, right, with facts, even just as early as yesterday.
Yeah. With facts, you said?
That idea of getting to the fact before reacting, and like you reacted quick. You don't have to go into the details, but you understand the concept.
100%. Yeah.
So tell me, like what was you don't have to tell me the details of the thing, but like how you got through something and what that was like.
Yeah, so for me it was acknowledging and understanding where the other person was at. Man, it's really weird to not give any details.
Well, you can give details if you want to. I'm just saying you don't have to.
I got you. No, and so it was something where I'm a person who I don't like to stay still for super long. I like to be out in motion doing something, right? And so yesterday I was like, I just wanted to do something and it just wasn't happening. And so then I was getting frustrated trying to figure out, okay, like, why don't we go do this or go, you know, whatever, because I'm like, Sunday's the day where, like, if we're gonna do that, we can do that, you know, without worrying about it. And so but then we ended up, it was between Brian and I. I mean, I was like, you might as well just be weird. I don't care. I can't dance around it.
He's like, and there was this thing that happened.
The crowd loves this story. They're like,
you can just say it. It's fine.
All right, so this story was a big flop here. Yikes. But here's the bottom line is you flipped. You got over this quickly.
Yes,
right? Is the idea, which was a good thing.
Yes.
Joey, put the camera back on you, would you?
The camera's on me.
Oh, good, because you look all red and embarrassed.
Oh my god!
But it's cute. I'm always thinking to myself, how is this guy
single? Right? Like totally. I was always wondering, like, I'm at home and I'm like, weird. How is this guy single?
And I was like, he needs something to do, ladies. Like, give this man a date.
Give him,
Let's go out and do some stuff, you know? And the ladies are like, okay, so very good. So we're talking about this idea of facts, right? And here's how we can all learn and grow from this. And honestly, we can probably even wrap the show here. But the idea is, when you're faced with something, try your best. And this is an idea that Paul even talked about as well, which was get yourself like down into neutral. And I call it get into the room.
Neutral.
Listen to the room. Yeah, neutral, which is the thing we do with the kids too, right? And so something happens where you get to be in this place where I call like you're outside the room, or you're looking over the room, or you're so tense that you're up here. And because you're at this place vibrating, it's almost like you know not what you do, and you just do stuff, and you usually regret it because you're not listening, and before you know it, you've offended 4, 5, 6 people. And then everyone's like, what's up with that guy? What's her problem? Type of deal. And it's because you didn't allow yourself to zen down and realize, okay, what's really going on? What are the absolute facts here? How do I deal with the situation, deal with it in love, and not be a turd to your wife who comes in and just needs gas in her car, you turd, and then you flip that script very quickly by just stopping, acknowledging what's going on with you, turn around, and I mean, think about it. Is my day going to be better or worse because of the fact that I stopped for a second to acknowledge my turdiness and give my wife a kiss? And how's her day going to change? And this is the thing where it's like other people's feelings are not your fault. You don't want to say like, oh, like your feelings are something that are all my fault. No, everyone's got to acknowledge, like they got to take accountability for themselves. But at the same time, we can acknowledge the fact that we do affect each other. And there is, I think, some responsibility there to understand that I bring with me a certain amount of energy. And for instance, we're going to be doing a corporate workshop here very soon, virtually. It's going to be very fun. Yeah, for sure, Joey. But this idea of you flip the light switch on. There's a switch when you say it's showtime. And we're going to go, and it's going to be now, like, let's say we're in the workplace, or we're going to have a sales meeting or something. There's a time when it's like, it's showtime right now. I'm not going to bring in the baggage. I'm not going to bring in the other stuff. I'm going to come, and I'm going to show up, and I'm going to be my best. And then what's crazy is by doing that, by being your best, you usually end up feeling better about the stuff you were upset about anyway. But if you dwell in the stuff and you let that kind of drag down your work, then what happens? You feel worse.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
That definitely makes sense. I know I've been very guilty of that, about the above the room idea. And it's been I love that concept of just like bring it in, like center yourself in. And so like I almost recommend finding something or a group of people that you can kind of do that with, and who will be honest with you and just say something like whatever it is. You do your little sign to me and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool.
Well, think about this. Let's go to sports really quick since you're zoning out.
Yeah.
This is the best way to get Joey reconnected is like
say sports.
Joey's literally
sports,
like staring at the light.
Think about
He's like,
the
light's so pretty. Yeah. Think about this, okay? What happens at the end of a game? Turmoil's going on. Things are going crazy. The coach does what?
The coach mixes it up.
Time out. Then he says what?
Joey's so mad at himself.
And the coach says what? He says, "Bring it in, gentlemen. Bring it in.
Yeah.
Bring it in.
Final drive.
Let's all come down." He says, "Bring it in. Let's get back down to fundamentals. Let's look at here's the play. Everybody settle. Everyone be quiet. Let's be calm. Then you get back on the field and you go." That's why the coach calls the timeout. That's why. And sometimes I think the coach doesn't call a timeout because the coach is listening to the room and listening to the court and realizes that the defense is more panicked than his offense. And he's like, no timeout, just go, because they're screwed. Like, they're not listening to the room. You guys are. You guys are good. Go win the game.
Interesting.
Yeah. But sometimes his offense or her offense, you're going to look at this the moment and go, like right now, I see my people are panicking a little bit. I need to call a timeout. We got to bring it in.
Yeah.
We got to bring it down
I
for
didn't
a
even
second.
think of that. That's so true.
And then you'll notice sometimes coaches call timeouts, and they shouldn't have called the timeout, but it's because they were panicking. And they actually took the momentum away from their own team, and they could have won the game. And that's where the coach is going to get in trouble or be held up as the hero based on you called the timeout, you didn't call the timeout.
Yeah.
How often have we as sports fans been bothered or annoyed or whatever, just like frustrated with a team or a coach that's wasting their timeouts early? And you're like, what are you panicking for? It's the beginning of the first quarter. And all of a sudden, you're using the thing that we need that panic button later, and we all know, like, oh man, like these guys don't have their stuff together. You know, it's the first quarter. You're calling timeouts. We need that.
Yeah, and there are timeouts that other teams take that come to your advantage. Other panic moments, like when extra players jump onto the field for a kick, and like Michigan State, stuff like that. Like,
Wait, but that was a timeout.
Yeah, it was a good try.
Dang it.
It was a good try. You were trying to rip
throw
on our
down
friend
to
Matt
Seibert.
Seibert. But it
trying to set
didn't
that
work.
up. It didn't
Yeah,
work.
it
It was a total fail.
I wish I had a button that
moron.
said epic
Oh, guys,
failure.
I'm a moron.
Epic fail.
I'm a moron.
Yeah, no, I remember our coach calling in timeout that made me mad last year, so I totally get
You
it.
talking about Kingsbury?
Yeah, in the San Francisco
Ooh, what's
game.
up, King? What up, the King? Joey's coming after the King right now. All right,
Listen,
let's detail it out.
in
Tell
this-
me what happened, and I'll tell
Okay,
you if he's
in
right
the
or you're
San-
right.
In the San Francisco game on Halloween.
Okay, it's Halloween night.
Okay.
San Francisco 49ers versus the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes, we already had played them once that season and lost by a touchdown and
Okay.
a field goal. And the touchdown was at the end of the game. It was like
Okay, so 10 points. We
yeah.
lost by 10 points, but it was a very
so
close
really
game.
like 3.
Okay,
it's
but it
fine.
was 10, so go
But
ahead.
the next one, okay, so we're at this Halloween game, and
It's a spooky night,
it's,
you know.
it's like dead even.
Okay.
Okay.
And-
Really
and
close
what-
There are
game.
kids trick or treating. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's
imagine
kids getting
there's-
candy,
yeah,
and what time is it right now? Like, is it late at night?
It's like 8 o'clock.
Do you remember, did we go
before
trick or
I
treating?
remember
also?
this game.
Yeah.
I was watching the game on the couch
Yes.
in my costume, and my wife was very annoyed with me for watching the game. It was a good game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it was right before halftime, and we were on defense. They were going down the field,
Uh-huh.
and
And we were eating
there
snacks.
were
That's
4
what you and I-
seconds on the clock, but he called a timeout basically for the other team
Right.
because he was getting his defense in motion, but the defense had already stopped the play.
Right.
So if he hadn't called the timeout,
and then they got
the time would have run out
right.
because they didn't have a timeout.
Or they would have
So he called
quick
it-
or they would have quick snapped. Let's just lay it out there.
Yeah, sure.
Let's say they could have. They would have quick snapped. But either way, you
the
looking at
defense
it,
just stopped them.
you looking at it, you're going, their team is probably more panicky than our defense because our defense is rolling right now. We're feeling confident. Why would you call a timeout? You're stopping our own momentum.
Exactly.
Kingsbury.
Kingsbury.
And why have you not hired me yet, Joey Sweeney, to be your assistant to the assistant coach?
I mean, I feel like I should be. Really. I'm very qualified.
Very qualified.
No, that doesn't really work.
I've watched film on every Arizona Cardinals game
yeah.
about 100 times.
100
so-
times. 100
No,
times.
but that was seriously like I think it was a good coaching moment for him like to learn because if we weren't down there, we lost by a touchdown that game.
Yeah.
So literally like that's a win.
Well, and you know, we've talked a lot about momentum. Here's the end of the half. You have momentum going on your side. You just stop the play, and then you lose the momentum because they I assume they scored before the
yes.
half.
Yeah, with 4 seconds.
And at that point, there were not many more trick or treaters around,
and they
so-
didn't even throw
and
to
then-
our tight end for fantasy.
Which
have
is
super
also
frustrating
annoying,
tight
like
end.
very
Yeah.
frustrating. Plus, why would they
For you
even like be thinking about our tight end that we had last year when they could be thinking about Matt Seibert?
That's a really nice transition back to Lighthouse. I do believe we never finished the story because Leanne came in.
Oh, we did it?
No, I believe we left off. At,
Okay, so Lighthouse, corner of the building. Here's the idea: Joey and I Brian and I get together, and there's this concept of we're going to start a nonprofit. We're going to take the advice of this friend of ours. We're going to start a nonprofit. So we did this. We put it.
really,
You
really
took the
glad
lead
we
on this
decided
thing.
to do
Now,
this.
really quickly with that, because the whole idea of a lighthouse is to bring people in, right? It's bringing in. We've talked about this at the beginning. It puts out a light that helps guide people to the shore, right?
Yeah.
ships.
So if you're a lost ship or you're navigating dark waters or there's a danger and you can't see in front of you, that's why a lighthouse exists. Is to guide you in without you hitting into anything. With you understanding, hey, there's land there. I better not keep going full force.
And the reason I bring that up is because I was there. Right?
Yeah.
So actually, I was out of this place, and I was in a really hard place.
You were the lost ship that was navigating the dark.
Right. I was
and
the
lighthouse
first
brought
lost
you
ship.
in, bro.
Exactly.
Wow.
That just hit me.
Wow.
Yeah. And so this whole idea of what we're trying to do, it actually started with God using this whole vision before we were in a place where I was gone, before the coma, before all of this, and us not understanding what the point of it was, really.
You were like in a thunderstorm in your life. Things were feeling dark and scary and dangerous, right?
Yep.
That was perfect. That was great.
It was really, really good.
No, and then you woke
solid.
up like to a rooster. It was like...
That's exactly what you sound like. Yeah. About 3 in the morning. Brian! It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen.
There was a little bit of aggression in that statement.
No, that was,
Well, there's a little bit of truth in comedy there.
Brian, you got
Truth in comedy.
you got a little pent up aggression there?
Pent up rage.
There's a little Hulk in me.
Yeah.
Read.
All right, so is that good? Did we kind of wrap? Here's the thing: we're going to come back to Lighthouse. We're going to keep talking about it. We got this big fundraiser coming up. We are excited. We are so grateful to everybody who's going to be involved and connected with it. All of you donors out there, grab your wallets and get excited to help us because we're going to do some amazing things coming up with the Lighthouse Theater. We are going to put that lighthouse on the corner of the building. We're going to keep drawing people, and we sort of already have metaphorically. We are attracting a certain type of human being, and we were finding our way of bringing light into their lives.
Absolutely.
Please donate your money to Lighthouse.
What's that? Joey, people can't understand you. No wonder you're single.
Yeah.
That's the first time.
I've been laughing so much this episode.
This has been a hilarious one.
Well, here's the thing, bro. You're not the only one. I mean, everybody's been laughing.
Even the studio audience.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Mornings with Matt. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Help us put out this light-driven content to the planet. Thank you, and God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.